Good morning from the Owens Valley, sometimes called the deepest valley, or as I call it, my happy place. Your eyes do not deceive you if you see behind me snow. Here it is, Memorial Day weekend, and there is snow not only in the Sierra, but also across the valley in the Inyo Range, which is just unheard of. Very strange weather week here in Southern California. We left the house, it was sprinkling, and got up here and it was quite windy. So we just pretty much stayed in the van yesterday here at Goodale Creek Campground and enjoyed the views because the clouds were coming through, and even though it was windy out, it was still quite beautiful. Wouldn't it be funny if this first week of our trip is the coldest part and we get to Alaska, it's in the 80s and 90s. But you know, every trip has its ups and downs, and it's the downsides that you always laugh about later on. I was thinking about that first hiking trip up here into the Sierra, and somehow we ended up I was 13, and we ended up taking a neighbor girl home. She was about 11, and there were four of us in we left my oldest brother here with a friend, and the four of us then were driving in my dad's 1965 Mustang, I think it was, 64, 65 Mustang. It was the first year they came out. I think I was in the back with her, and my brother was in the front, and she threw up in the back seat of the Mustang. So then, of course, there was this pull over really fast, clean it up, and then the rest of the trip, my brother and I were smushed together on one side, and she was in the front seat, but because of the throw up in the corner, we were smushed together on one side. And of course, the car did not have air conditioning because my dad always bought the stripped down model of every car he ever bought. So, you know, it's one of those things, these weird experiences that you have, you'll remember forever. And it's those trips that go seamlessly that you probably won't remember. So I'm expecting, you know, things to happen along our route, but we'll look back on them and hopefully laugh. So the sun is now peeking up over the Inyo Mountains, and I am going to jump back in the car where it's nice and warm. We're going to head into Bishop and have some breakfast at the famous Schatz Bakery. These are good. These are raisin apple fritters.
Schatz is the place in Bishop,
Yeah.
right?
The first part of our trip we've taken very slowly because John has an appointment at the Marine base. He's still doing a little bit of work. And so we decided to do some exploring in the Owens Valley. And even though last night we'd already paid for a campsite at this place called Pleasant Valley Pit Campground. It was only $2.50 with the access pass. We got a call about 5:30 from the Benton Hot Springs because John had left his name and number, and they said they had a hot tub available. So we picked up camp really fast. It only took us 2 seconds because of the van, and we drove about an hour up north of Bishop to the famous Benton Hot Springs. Depending on the site you get, it's either $60 or $70 a night, which is expensive, and there's no hookups. But the soak in the hot tub was well worth it. And so now we're feeling refreshed, ready to explore the June Lake Loop a little bit more, hoping to get a spot at the Silver Lake Campground. I also want to mention that this area is kind of known for its hot springs, and there are spots, you can Google it and find tips on how to get to these spots where you can soak in a hot spring. You do want to be careful, obviously. People have died from scalding water. And they've also, some people, I know this is going to sound weird, but there's a parasite that can enter into your ear and then get into your brain. So you don't want to put your head underwater in these hot springs. At least that's what I've been told. So we opted for the more expensive variety of hot spring. Here at the Silver Lake Campground, it's on the June Lake Loop.
When we were young, running from all things at once, without thinking twice. And I knew it would catch up, and that we would be the ones left behind. The stories I've been told, they never seem to.
We found a short little hike off of the June Lake Loop called Parker Lake Trail. John said he'd give it a try with his hip. It's 3.5 miles round trip, but it's supposed to be an easy hike. So we're going to see how it goes. We passed a road trek adventurous, I think that's what it's called, on the way up here. And I mean, if they could make it, anybody could make it, even without a suspension package, but we were really glad we had it because it got a little ready on the way into the trailhead.
And I still wonder where you are, and if you found a way out from the dark. The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind. On this road that I am on, I gotta stay here for some time. Bruises, they come and they go.
I can see
We have to try and keep up, 'cause this life's so much more.
I'm going to probably head back down because I don't think John's going to make it all the way up here. And we had already agreed that when he felt like it, he would turn around and go back to the car.
Come seek me out.
We are finishing up the week at Turtle Rock Campground, which is a county-run campground right outside of Markleeville, California. It is $18 normally, $12 for seniors 62 and over. It has a shower, a nice shower with hot water, $1 for 10 minutes, relatively clean, and just a nice layout of a really good campground. We were joined though by, it seems like hundreds of Frisbee golfers. Apparently they're having a tournament this weekend, and we were fortunate just to get one of the last spots here. And you can see maybe behind me the Frisbee golf cages that some of them bring so that they can practice throwing at these things. We have a big Frisbee golf course in Huntington Beach, so I'm very familiar with the sport. And now here comes some young people. But we finished up John's work at Pickle Meadow, and he's helping them out. Very few people want to go out to the Marine base. It's very isolated, and you're not guaranteed of making any sales. But he's been going out there regularly, helping them with some of their storage problems. So we finished up after about 4 hours, getting drawings and that sort of thing. Poor John has been on the telephone the last 2 hours, or one of those messaging things with Verizon, trying to get a jetpack. And he was originally talking to someone who said it was $10 a month. And then every time he got passed to someone else, the price got higher and higher until he was finally told he had to go online to do this. And then it was $80 a month. So poor guy. We don't need a jetpack that badly. And I know they're not $80 a month. But anyway, we are spending the next week with family. And so the vlogging may be a little different. But I did tell someone from my last upload that she had asked about which hats I ended up taking on this trip. So I told her I would show her the hats that I'm taking because she's going to the Cotswolds. So if you have any recommendation for somebody going to the Cotswolds in the fall, then please put them in the comments section below. And here are the hats that I decided to take. This one was kind of a weird find. I got this in Hawaii. It's a Tilly hat. It's a Tilly 3-season. And so it's kind of a bucket hat. And I was hoping it would keep the rain off. And now what I did do it, because you know me, I'm always customizing everything. So I sewed these elastic straps onto the hat. And then I've got a Velcro closure here now to keep, so if the wind comes up and won't pull it off my head. But when we get up to Spokane, where my brother is, he has a small company and he has a bar tacking machine, and I'm going to use his bar tacker to attach some of those clips on here to make it even more secure. So that's the one hat. And then here is the other hat, and this is a weird find too. We got this in at Old Tucson last fall outside of the Gilbert Ray Campground is Old Tucson. And we were in their little gift shop and I saw this hat. And what I liked about it, it has a really long bill and it has the neck protector on the back. So that's the other choice that I made. I have a little bit of an issue with hats because I have a big head. And so I always have to have a large hat. And this one is made by Dorfum Pacific Company. So I don't know if you can find those online or not, but that is that hat. And then of course, actually, I did bring a visor, but that doesn't qualify as a hat, does it? We are now going to pop over the hill, through Hope Valley, up over the hill into Tahoe Basin to see our grandkids, celebrate a birthday, watch them play baseball games, and enjoy just some time with family. That's all I have for you this week. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next week.